AI is not often yet a real priority for
Yeah.
probably very good reasons. So there, it could be a risk of just falling a bit behind because you might always have something else more important to do, which is obviously day-to-day wise always true. But the more you push it back, others will start gaining a competitive advantage. The ones that are starting to embrace AI, start working with it, start learning.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone. My name is Lina Østergaard, and today we're thrilled to have welcome to a very special guest with us. Welcome, Basad. Basad is the CEO of Pharmax. He has over 25 years of experience in pharmaceutical sales, marketing, consulting across US, Europe, and Asia. Basad, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Linda, for having me. Thank you.
I know you've been involved in countless conversations about this topic and doing demos and participating in events, which obviously I think makes you the ideal person to ask this question. So, what are the biggest challenges that pharma organizations face when adopting AI, and how would you suggest that they can effectively overcome these challenges?
So I believe one natural challenge we face in any new thing, right, that comes to the table. And in a way, I'm thinking back years ago when we had omni-channel engagement, right? Omni-channel
Mhm.
marketing becoming a thing. It's always us humans, right? The change management process. How can we adopt? How can we easily understand the value of a new thing that comes our way? What does it require from me personally, right, to change my way of doing things? So all of that comes together. So change management, albeit being an overstressed term, right? We always talk about that.
Yeah.
But in AI, I think it's really true that there needs to be some real change, right? And we as organizations need to understand how we adopt to these new technologies. So I think change management is definitely one of those key topics
Mhm.
in how we want to adopt with AI. I think another topic is scalability, because as we
Mhm.
earlier discussed, right, when we talk about engagements in AI, you probably also need to understand when you choose a pilot, how can that pilot really prove value and scalability to the organization? Because you can actually fall very short of your goal when you're maybe selecting a pilot that in the end doesn't deliver and is too small for the organization to see a change. Because senior management will probably always come back and say, okay, we did this now. What did it give us? What's the result
Yeah.
of it, right? And if we don't have really good answers to that, we again, right, might block the advance of AI in our organization. So I think these are a few of the topics, and we've discussed just a second ago the general knowledge of AI.
Yeah.
You need to know about AI, right, a bit at least. I guess that's today still was also one of the roadblocks that we encounter.
In your experience, if you look at sort of smaller pharma companies and the big scale pharma, would you say either of them have it's easier for them to implement the use of AI, or would you say it's just different?
I think it's probably different because I wouldn't put a qualifier saying this is maybe easier or faster and this is better or so. I
Mm.
guess what we see with bigger pharma organizations is that they definitely are embarking on the journey and they are putting also resources and investment behind this. What I sometimes feel is that larger organizations then tend to um, already be very much engaged and on the way. Almost like, okay, we now have already made up a mind. We know this is the direction and this is what we now want to do, which is great in many ways because that means there is drive, there is a dynamic, and you probably move towards something. But I have a feeling looking in a few larger pharma organizations that also could potentially make you a bit blind and make you a little bit less exploratory, right? Because
Yeah.
you might just not have then maybe also this kind of luxury of looking a bit left, a little bit right. What are others doing? What are dynamics in the market? What's happening? So that could be a potential little let's say, slowing point, right, for larger
Yeah.
pharma. And for medium and smaller pharma, we definitely see a lot of interest and hunger. But what we also see is that as these guys are typically working in leaner organizations, people have multiple hats that they're wearing. They have to do a lot of different things. AI is not often yet a real priority for
Yeah.
probably very good reasons. So there, it could be a risk of just falling a bit behind because you might always have something else more important to do, which is obviously day-to-day wise always true. But the more you push it back, others will start gaining a competitive advantage. The ones that are starting to embrace AI, start working with it, start learning, they might have a leg up in the future. And I guess that's potentially a bit of a risk for smaller pharma organizations.
I see. Yeah, I think it's interesting for smaller pharma companies to really make it a priority, especially because perhaps they can overcome some of those challenges, which is have to do a lot of things, getting some virtual assistants, right? So we're kind of wrapping it up, but before we do that, I want to ask you 5 quick questions. So for you, AI, friend or foe?
Friend,
The future of AI in one word only.
promising.
Now, if AI was an animal, what animal would it be?
Uh, that's a good one. A llama, because it is a very useful animal. It's actually an animal that can be very friendly, super supportive, can do tons of things for you. But for many people, it's also maybe a bit scary, right? And you don't know, can I come close to it? Can I touch it?
Will
I
it
don't know.
spit me
Maybe
in the face?
exactly it might spit at me, so I might stay a bit back. So maybe that could be an analog for an animal. It's just like pops up in my head, right? Apart from being the big white elephant, so it could also be the big white elephant. But no, llama. I think it's a llama for me.
I like that. Now, your favorite AI application.
Mind journey,
And to end it up, one word to describe AI's impact on humanity.
disruptive.
Great. So, Besa, thank you so much for sharing your invaluable insights today in our podcast. It's been really fascinating to have this discussion with you, how pharma companies can really identify their opportunities within the AI space. Your experience, of course, truly illuminates, right, how we can navigate this rapidly evolving landscape.
Thank you so much, Lynn. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
So, absolutely, have you back anytime. And for you, our listeners, if there's something you'd like us to cover, feel free to really comment on this post, comment on the blog, on the podcast. Your feedback is very valuable. So thank you again for tuning. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn if you want to stay connected to the podcast. We'll also put it on YouTube. So until next time, keep exploring AI, try it out for yourself, and see you at the next one.